you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me one quick favor, see that little black subscribe button on the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, hit that little black subscribe button. Really does help this channel grow, my audience grow, and I appreciate it more than you know. Also, quick thank you to our presenting sponsor, Betfred Sportsbook and the Betfred Sportsbook app. Bet $50 on any game. Get up to $1,111 in free bets courtesy of the Betfred Sportsbook. Thank you again. Now, here's the video that you came here for. But Mike asked me, Torres, what is your boldest college football prediction for 2023? And I'll just say this. I don't know if it's a bold prediction or not, but it is something that I did say on air a few days ago when I went on with Ryan. And that is, I do not understand the Texas football hype. And so I guess my bold prediction is that with everybody else in the industry saying that Texas football is back, I am definitively saying that they're not. And I know what a lot of people are probably sitting there saying, like, Torres, who's hyping Texas right now, right? Like we know that Georgia's awesome and Michigan and Ohio State are awesome. And we know that LSU is getting some buzz. Is anyone actually hyping Texas? To which I would say, actually, yes. It was interesting, even in the lead up to this show, didn't necessarily know I was going to talk about Texas, but if you did not see, the Big 12 media poll actually came out on Thursday afternoon. And guess who was picked by the media who covers the Big 12 to win the Big 12 in their final season in the league? You guessed it, Texas, by actually a pretty significant margin. They got 41 of 70 first place votes. And oh, by the way, it's not just the voters in Big 12 country. Athlon Sports, I looked it up. I have the preseason magazine. They have Texas picked to win the Big 12 at 11-2. Lindy's did not do a preseason win total projection, but Lindy's has Texas expecting to win the Big 12 as well. And so I bring it up. This isn't fake media hype. People in the media really love Texas, and I guess to a degree, I do sort of understand it. One, Big 12 is always wide open, but it feels like it's an extra wide open year in the Big 12. Oklahoma coming off, obviously, a disastrous first year under Brent Venables. That's an entirely different conversation. And oh, by the way, TCU coming off a national championship game appearances, lost a ton. Texas probably has the most talented roster in the league. And I would argue in defense of Steve Sarkeesian, they probably have the best skill position group and certainly the best wide receiver group in college football. They have A.D. Mitchell transfer from Georgia. Isaiah Nayor transferred 2 years ago from Wyoming, was very coveted. Xavier Worthy, 5-star Jonte Cook. And so on some level, I see where the media is going with this. But at the same time, one, Texas pretty much every year has the most talented roster in the Big 12. And two, let me take it a step further. For a team to reach expectations or exceed them, for a team, in my opinion, to be a legitimate conference championship contender, I have to trust either their quarterback or their coach or both. And I'm just going to be blunt. I don't trust either one at Texas. Okay. So like if you believe that Texas is the best team in the Big 12, if you believe that they are a dark horse playoff contender and at 11-2 as a Big 12 champ, you do, like many have predicted, that means you believe in Quinn Ewers and you believe in Steve Sarkeesian. And I'll be blunt, I don't really believe in either of them. Starting with Quinn Ewers. Listen, really talented kid. I don't wish him any ill will. And let's be blunt, he was awesome in that first half against Alabama, a game that if you love college football, you were probably watching. And so most of your memories of Quinn Ewers last season, frankly, probably came in that Alabama game. You're like, this guy's great. This guy's unbelievable. He gets hurt. And then Texas obviously takes a major step back when he goes out of the game. Comes back for the Oklahoma game, another game that you probably watched, Red River Shootout. Yes, we still call it the Red River Shootout here on the Aaron Torres pod. And he had 4 touchdowns in that game. And so you're sitting there saying, well, Torres, he was awesome against Alabama. He was awesome against Oklahoma. Yeah. But does anybody besides me remember what happened the rest of the season with Quinn Ewers? He wasn't very good. No disrespect, just facts. Facts, not feelings on this show. And listen, I'm just going to say it. in the NIL era, Quinn Ewers is taking very good care of himself financially. I don't feel as bad kind of calling him out for his poor play. And that play was pretty poor for most of the games that weren't Oklahoma or Alabama. Did you know that last season, Quinn Ewers completed 58% of his passes? 58%. Did you know also, by the way, and I bet a lot of people don't know this, on the season, the entire season, and I understand he missed time because of injury, 15 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. 15 touchdown passes. That is the guy that you're getting excited about, is Quinn Ewers, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. As an example, in terms of what that means, Bryce Young, who obviously, was a Heisman caliber quarterback, was obviously unbelievable last season at Alabama. Bryce Young last season threw for 32 touchdowns, and it was deemed a quote-unquote disappointing season, not so much for him, but for Alabama. Bryce Young, more than 2-1. And oh, by the way, in the year before, Bryce Young threw for 47 touchdown passes as a redshirt freshman, which is essentially what Quinn Ewers was last year. So Bryce Young, 47 touchdowns in his second season of college football after sitting out his freshman year. Quinn Ewers, 15 touchdowns in his second season of college football after sitting out his freshman year. So that's the Quinn Ewers part of it. But here's the other part that I just feel like everybody is kind of missing. You really believe it's Steve Sarkeesian? And listen, again, when it comes to Sark, let me say this. Obviously, Sark had some personal issues, some personal demons at USC, and obviously prior to USC as well. I'm not here to make fun of him. I'm not here to joke. I'm actually very happy that he got his life in order. Listen, I live in LA. The stories that came out after he got fired at USC were unbelievable. And I'm happy for him that he has gotten it back on track in his career. He was incredible at Alabama as their offensive coordinator. But as a head coach, and again, I'm rooting for him. So this isn't a tear down Steve Sarkeesian thing. It's just a fact. Steve Sarkeesian has now been a head coach for essentially a decade in college football. He's been kind of average for essentially that entire time. I think Gen Z calls it he's very mid. I don't know if I used that right, Gen Z. I apologize if I didn't. Go back and look at Steve Sarkeesian's bottom line and results through the first 9 years of his career. Do you know that through 9 years as a Division I FBS, how about this? All of them in the Power 5. So you can't sit there and say, well, he started at Fresno State or he started at Central Michigan. No, he started at Washington, went to USC, then goes to Texas. And I understand Washington was very bad when he took over. But do you know that in Steve Sarkeesian's 9 years as a head coach, he has a grand total of 1 9-win season and 0 10-win seasons? You understand? 1 9-win season, 2 8-win seasons, 0 10-win seasons. I'll give you some perspective. PJ Fleck has an 11-win season at Minnesota. Jim Harbaugh has 5 10-win seasons in 7 full years at Michigan. So you talk about like I'm not saying that 10 wins is easy, and I think we need to give credit to anybody who does it. But this is the guy that you're riding for in Steve Sarkeesian. 0 10-win seasons, 1 9-win season. And here's the other thing. Go back and look at some of those results from last year. It's the same thing over and over with Sark. Texas jumps out to a big lead. Texas falls apart. Sometimes they hold on, sometimes they don't. Just for fun, I went back and looked it up to make sure I didn't forget anything. Last year, these were some of the games that Texas played. Jumped out to a 31-17 lead on Oklahoma State, ended up losing. Jumped out to a 24-14 lead on Texas Tech and ended up losing. I will say, in Steve Sarkeesian's defense, that was at least a game that Quinn Ewers didn't play. They were up 17-7 against Iowa State, the worst team in the Big 12. Ended up winning 24-21, meaning they were outscored 14-3 essentially over the final second half of that game. They were up 17-7 early in the second half. And so I just bring it up. This isn't an anti-Texas thing. This isn't making fun of Hook'em this and da-da-da-da and this and that. It's to call a spade a spade. We'll see what happens. We'll see what ends up becoming of this. I just can't buy the hype on Texas, and I just can't get excited.